AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. LSU running back signee Racine Guillory. Next hour, Ross Dellinger in hour 3. Time to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
There is just no doubt about it. Tigers have to land quarterbacks in this portal class, and the biggest name left on the board is the biggest name on the board, whether you're looking at On3 or 24/7. Sam Leavitt is the number one quarterback in the portal, and according to On3, the number 2 overall player in the portal. And as we speak right now, 3 o'clock Central Time on Tuesday, Sam Leavitt is still on his visit to LSU. So he arrived Monday afternoon, visited with coaches, staff, had a dinner at Supper Club on Monday night. It was a private dinner. I was told there were 7 people. Supper Club, candidly, great sponsor of the show. They're not open, but they opened for this private dinner. It was 7 people. So it was Sam Leavitt, his parents, Charlie Weiss, who came back from Oxford. He's working with Ole Miss still through the playoff. Came back from Oxford for the Leavitt visit. Joe Cox, the co-offensive coordinator. Dane Stevens, the quarterback's coach. And then Whit Weeks tagged along as well. So the 7 of them had dinner at Supper Club. I know that dinner went past 10 p.m., probably close to about 10:30 at least, based on text messages that I had, convos I had last night. So all accounts, going very well. And, there's a lot of people who've been asking if maybe you're concerned about how the portal has gone. I don't know what people necessarily expected as far as a number of commitments or anything along those lines right when the portal opened. But you're now 4 days into the transfer portal. And if you want to change whatever vibe people may have about how the portal cycle has gone, you land the number 1 quarterback in the transfer portal, that'll change the vibe in a hurry. And the Tigers apparently are very close to doing that. Just a few of the notes that I've been able to gather so far about Leavitt's visit. The way that this staff works, and you got to remember when these prospects come to campus, in many instances, it's guys that have not been to LSU before. Some, like Racine Guillory, who's going to be with us in about an hour or so, he had a relationship with his staff because they recruited him. Kevin Smith had recruited him, but he went to Utah. So there's some familiarity, just not with LSU. So a lot of times when these guys are coming to campus, the staff may have watched film and they have an evaluation on that player based on film. But this is still it's not just a recruiting visit. It's a continued evaluation. And they're evaluating more than just the physical ability and what they see on film, because they can do that. It's a lot of the player, the personality, teammate, all of that sort of stuff, as well as the talent evaluation continues going on. And then part of that is after the coaches and staff meet with the student athlete, they'll go meet with Billy Glasscock, the GM, and that's when they discuss sort of the business side of it. It is very much a pro model where the GM handles the business side of it and the coaches handle the football side of it. And that's how this has been segregated, where the coaches and the staff are talking to these players about football, and when it's time to talk about the contract and the business and the numbers, they go talk to Billy Glasscock and his staff. So that segregation is very clear internally. I was told that Sam Leavitt was blown away by the VR room. Remember, Jaden Daniels sort of made this, I guess, famous. He was, if you remember, there was a great feature story on Jaden in the VR room leading into his final year at LSU about how he would get his own key card to football ops, and he would go up there before the sun was even up, and he would go do reps at 1.75 speed. So he would look at plays in VR, in the VR room, and at 1.75 speed. So he's making decisions and getting mental reps faster than real speed. So when he was actually in the game and game speed, it felt like it was in slow motion. And so that room is very impressive. If you've never been into football ops, when you walk through the door, through the main door on the right, as you're headed toward the back and you make a left like you're going to the team room and the locker room, there's a room on your left, and it is a long room, not necessarily wide or deep, maybe only 10 yards, maybe not even 10 yards, maybe 5 yards deep, but it is a long room, maybe like 20 yards, 15 yards long and 5 yards deep. So basically you could simulate having like the line of scrimmage, right? Think of it like that. And you put on the VR goggles and you have space to do your walk through your VR room right there. And so apparently Sam Leavitt was blown away by the VR room, which certainly worked wonders for Jaden Daniels. And some of the staff members that I've spoken with today it made it clear to me that Leavitt is their top target. And one even said, look, this is going to sound like sour grapes, but they like Leavitt more than Sorsby. I mean, you're going to recruit all the top guys, but again, part of this is the evaluation. You can watch film, but you got to get these guys to campus to meet them and talk to them. And they like Leavitt maybe a bit more, you're splitting hairs, both are great players, but they like Leavitt maybe a little more than Sorsby for a couple of reasons. Number one, Sam Leavitt, as I was told, is planning on a 2-year transfer period. So Leavitt's got 2 years of eligibility remaining. And the way that it was expressed to me is that unless if he is a top 10 or 15 pick in the right situation in next year's draft in the spring of 27 after the 26 season, that he plans to come to do 2 more years in school. So he would come theoretically to LSU to play 2 years, which would be massive. Hello, Joe Burrow. Hello, Jaden Daniels, right? Really good first year, explosive second year. That's kind of what you'd be hoping for. And they also liked that they felt his personality would match this fan base. He could handle the pressure. And as a leader, again, this is where that evaluation I was talking about matters. As a leader, they felt like he could handle alpha male athletes at LSU and tell them basically to shut up and fall in line. And the first thing I had in my head was that story about Joe Burrow and Patrick Queen getting in a fight in fall camp when Burrow first showed up in 2018. And you got to have that, right? If you're gonna lead a room full of alphas, you got to be the top dog and willing to be that guy. And that's something that sort of stood out about Leavitt so far on his visit. So I think, let me tell you, I'm speculating. It sounds like they are really close to getting a commitment from Sam Leavitt, and I think they are trying to close him today. And I would not be surprised if they do. Now, I want to be clear, that is speculative. Nobody told me that. I think there are folks on that staff that feel really good. I know there are folks on the staff that feel really good about it. It sounds to me like they are trying to close him today. Will they? Hope so. I don't know if that will happen today. But the other thing circumstantially that works in LSU's favor is when you look at Leavitt's visits, he visited Kentucky. He was supposed to go to Texas Tech and LSU. Well, he canceled his Texas Tech visit because Texas Tech signed Sorsby. Well, Kentucky last evening took a commitment from Minchie, who was the Notre Dame quarterback who had committed to Nebraska. Well, he flipped his commitment from Nebraska to Kentucky. So if you just look at it that way, it's kind of like, well, does Leavitt try to get in the mix at Nebraska, or is LSU his spot? And it sure sounds like they're trying to close him on LSU being the spot today, and hopefully that gets done. As I said, you had the number one portal quarterback to this class. The narrative really starts to change from what it's been the first 72 hours of the transfer portal, where the plan was right when the portal opened, you're going to have a lot of Ole Miss guys go in the portal, and some really top-tier guys were going to end up in Baton Rouge. Well, Ole Miss beating Georgia flipped that plan on its head, and that's probably why, it is why you've had a little bit of a slower start. But they're gaining momentum. 3 commitments from the offensive side on Monday. As of right now, 2 elite-level commitments defensively, and Sam Leavitt, the number one quarterback in the portal, is lingering, and we may get word on that really soon. If we do, we'll certainly pass it on to you right here. All right, it's After Further Review. Show Open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer, your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Of course, Tiger Stadium will go quiet until September, but no matter if you're watching the Tigers at the Box or the PMAC or Tiger Stadium or anywhere, make sure you have plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of AFR. Always love telling you about our friends over at Mockler Beverage, their great community involvement as we head through this through the winter and in towards spring. You start having so many events like fairs and different big-time public events and fundraisers outdoor. It's rare that you'll ever go without seeing the Bud Light truck and the Mockler Beverage logo, because they've been great community supporters for 4 decades. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. Got plenty of Saints stuff today as well. I want to highlight some of the free agent decisions that the Saints and these free agents are going to have to make. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit. In 1 hour from right now, Racine Guillory, LSU running back signee, will be with us. Looking forward to that convo. Let me grab a quick break. Shea Dixon jumps aboard next, as he does every Tuesday. It's AFR.
AFR.
Let's Rev, R-E-V, letsrev.com, letsrev.com, letsrev.com. Yes, for your home, but also internet for your business. Not only internet, but your home or building automation. They can do cable services as well. It's Rev, letsrev.com, letsrev.com. 70,000 homeowners and business owners in South Louisiana trust Rev. I do. Here at Guarantee Media, we do. At Paris Construction Roofing, we're Rev customers as well. Cannot recommend Rev highly enough. They are local. You have a local call center, so if you ever have an issue, you're talking to someone here locally in our market. And at Rev, man, they support anything that you could possibly imagine or need. So check out our friends at Rev. Go to letsrev.com, letsrev.com. All fiber network, it is time to switch today. LetsRev.com.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Sun over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet.
All right, waiting on Shea Dixon on 3 the Bengal Tiger to jump aboard with us. In the meantime, when Shea gets aboard with us here, we'll chat with him about this, because there's some breaking news as LSU has landed another commitment via the transfer portal. Running back Rod Gainey out of Charlotte is now an LSU Tiger. Multiple outlets have it. Gainey did in fact tweet a graphic that he has committed with the caption "Home," hashtag Go Tigers. Threw a blessed in there for good measure as well. So Rod Gainey is the latest commitment for LSU, and we're expecting this is going to be like this for. Certainly for this first wave of, call it free agency, but of the portal. But where LSU has got to add, and I've told you the numbers, it has kind of been explained to me, you're probably going to push 30 portal additions. And I think you'll have single-digit defensive additions, and you'll have 20 or more offensive players, because you have to remake your offense. You have to remake your offensive line, your receiving room. You only had 1 scholarship running back with... obviously, with Harlan Berry being the only running back, you You have no scholarship quarterbacks, so you're trying to add Leavitt. You'll add more on top of that. So the numbers make sense, no doubt, that you're going to have to add. But Gainey, so Rod Gainey, 6 foot, 185, a physically similar build to Harlan Berry. I'm not telling you he's Harlan Berry, but a similar build there at 6 foot, 185. He ran 74 times for 260 yards this year, averaged 3.5 yards a carry, caught 16 passes for 44 yards. One of the things that really is standing out to me as we look at this portal class for LSU is you're talking about guys that maybe right now you're not looking at the top tier frontline starters, but what you are seeing very clearly is they're building depth with this portal class, and maybe most importantly, multi-year guys, right? So Racine Guillory, the running back that they got out of Utah, just finished his freshman season. Rod Gainey from Charlotte was a redshirt freshman, so he's entering his third year, but he's still got 3 years of eligibility remaining after redshirting his first season. So the point being, you're talking about guys with multiple years remaining. You're not going after a bunch of veteran one-year mercenaries, so you're back doing this again next year. So that will be interesting to see what type of retention you may have building depth with guys in the portal with multiple years remaining. All right, Shea Dixon's with us on 3. The Bengal Tiger joins us each Tuesday. Shady, Happy New Year, man. How are you?
Happy New Year, Matt. I am well. I hope you had enjoyed your downtime. Whatever downtime you got, I guess. Yeah,
not much, man, with all of this going on. But it was nice to be away for a little bit. Thanks. Hey, we were just talking about Rod Gainey, the running back, a commitment from Charlotte, which just came in minutes ago. He's the second running back to commit to the Tigers. What can you tell us about Gainey, or best you know what LSU's doing there in the running back room?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you summed up one thing well. If you notice, they've taken a couple of running backs and receivers, and it's been guys with multiple years of eligibility. So if they have some experience from this past season and they have multiple years left to play, and whether, let's say it's running back, Kevin Smith, who running backs coach, and Lane Kiffin, both are going to have to sign off on it. So if they both say, hey, this guy fits, then they're going to make a move on it. And right now it feels like, Matt, look, they're grabbing guys, whether from Utah or Charlotte, who have had a bit of playing time but haven't been that bell cow back or anything of that nature. And you bring guys in and let competition unfold. And I'm still in the camp in the post, Kyron, in the post Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss, Keon Lacey staying world, that LSU can still make a splash at running back. And I just get the feeling that there will still be big running backs enter. It's a lot like quarterback, Matt, where if people think, if I'm a running back and I say, well, I know for a fact Matt's going to LSU, and it is what it is. And in turn, you stay at, Southern. Well, then I look up and say, hey, maybe I do need to enter the portal, because all of a sudden LSU's got room for a starter like me, if I'm kind of that guy. So even with the whole coming out of Ole Miss, keeping two guys that LSU thought they might have had a shot at had they gotten into the portal at some point, I still think they make a big splash here at running back at some point.
Any names that you're hearing?
I think the names are probably guys not in the portal right now. Yeah. So it's kind of a wait and see. But we know how that works. Look, agents, everybody else involved, everyone's got an eye on what everyone's doing. And right now, yes, LSU's adding some running backs, but beyond Harlan Berry, you are having to rebuild this entire room. So the expectation is you would probably be taking not two guys, but 3 or 4.
Yeah. Shea, look, I've said it here, and I don't mind saying things like this on the record. The plan was there were negotiated arrangements with several Ole Miss players that were handshake deals that were done during the quote-unquote legal tampering period. And when the portal opened on January 2nd, those players were – the expectation we're going to go in the portal and end up being LSU Tigers. Well, Ole Miss beat Georgia. Those players didn't go in the portal. Ole Miss has now retained their players. LSU's had to pivot. It turned a lot of the plan on its head. As best as you can tell, what is LSU's new pivot plan now 4 days into the portal?
I think at quarterback, we're seeing it play out right now. They've got Sam Leavitt on campus. They've gone after Sorsby, and it almost felt like a waiting game of what would happen with Chambliss. That's over with. So you kind of move on. It's Leavitt, and then it's the next guy, right? There's no more waiting around on Sorsby or Chambliss. And at running back, I think it's like I said, you need more than Harlan Berry, right? And you need another guy that's probably similar to Harlan Berry in the sense that he can play for you. Whether that's one of these two guys that they've added in the past 24 hours, I don't know. It could be. But then you also need those guys. I mean, they were playing Juwan Johnson this year alongside Harlan Berry and Caden Durham, and now Durham's in the portal, obviously. So is Johnson, who's going to Syracuse. But there was an expectation that Caleb Jackson would be playing, and it just didn't pan out. So I think Lane, a team that runs the ball often, will be using more than just Harlan Berry. And even if you land two really good ones, you have to keep them healthy. And even then, you're probably using more than one. So right now, I think they're probably just trying to fill out that room. And then, look, we're speculating, but Watkins was a receiver that many had speculated on, and their season is not over. We'll see what happens. But that's another room where it's almost, you lost every starter, Matt, and you're a number of backups, including young guys like Teron Francis. So you're kind of really building from the bottom up there. He booked Ole Miss commit late. They signed Jabari Mack. And sent a couple of Louisiana guys, actually, Braden Allen at the end as well, flipped him from Oklahoma. But you're wanting to win now, so you're trying to bring in players like Hawaii's wide receiver, Old Dominion's wide receiver. You're chasing Jace Brown, Kansas State's wide receiver. There's going to be others on campus who are going to be a lot like, not exactly, but the type of guys you chased when you were after T.J. Daniels and Nick Anderson. Maybe these are bad examples because they ultimately didn't pan out here like you thought they would, or have panned out here like you thought they would. But hey, look, remember, Aaron Anderson and Davion Thomas were transfers. They were just from Louisiana and probably should have ended up here in the first place. But you're trying to find guys that can help you immediately as starters. And I assume that these are the type of guys that you go and find, given that they were all number ones at whatever school they're coming from.
Yeah. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, is with us. Let's dig in a little deeper at quarterback. I opened the show today, Shea, with a few of my notes, what I've heard about Sam Leavitt's visit so far. What can you tell us about what you've heard with Leavitt's now 25 hours or so on campus?
Yeah, they're obviously, again, with Chambliss staying at Ole Miss by all indications, and then Sorsby signing a big $5 million reported deal going from Cincinnati to Texas Tech. Those were the other names. Like if there were three of them, Matt, there's three that we were circling. Well, now it's Leavitt. And both, the news of all that broke within about 24 hours of Leavitt being on campus at LSU. So they were able to go into this multi-day visit saying, you're our guy, we're pushing for you, we want you. We know they have the NIL backing. We talked about it. Even Pete Nakos kind of reiterated, we had said this on the LSU and many times, Matt, but Pete Nakos said a few weeks ago before any of this started that when it comes to quarterbacks, Miami and LSU are going to be the teams that are going to chase the top guys and be able to spend the NIL money to get them. And Sam Leavitt's the number one transfer portal quarterback, and all signs point to him being down now to LSU and Miami. I should add, he just visited Kentucky, and then not a day after he leaves campus, they take Kenny Minchie from Notre Dame. So they're sort of out of the Leavitt sweepstakes as well. So combined Chambliss, combined Sorsby, all that, I would say this is LSU's shot. They've got the NIL backing. They've obviously got an opening at quarterback. They've got Lane Kiffin here. You've got the defense. You've got a big SEC school that you can showcase your skills at. I mean, I would think that that's kind of everything Leavitt's been looking for.
Is the Miami angle of this is interesting because I haven't seen Shea reported anywhere that Leavitt's planning on taking a visit to Miami. Do you know if that's true?
So Miami's kind of been mum on that. We haven't seen any. I haven't seen anything either about it. He's not. There hasn't been a report that it was, hey, I'm going to Kentucky the next day, LSU the next day, Miami. It was, hey, I'm going to start out here going to Kentucky and LSU. So the goal for LSU, and this is, I guess I don't even need to state it, but in the portal world, this is a very real and important thing, is you want to get him locked in before he leaves campus and even has a chance to go make other visits, because it's not just Miami, right? I mean, there's a lot of teams out there calling Sam Leavitt's agents or trying to get in touch saying, hey, how can you get by campus, or what can we do to get involved? So, yes, I think they're going to want to shut this down, or at least have a very good feel for it before he leaves campus, which is, look, even though Sorsby did visit, had that LSU Texas Tech weekend, it ended with what I think Texas Tech knew was coming on Friday when he left campus, which was, here's a pretty, large deal that you're not going to turn down.
One more for you, Shea, and Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Offensive line is certainly the position that was LSU's biggest weakness this year, and they've lost everybody. Let's start just filling in the blanks here about what they do.
Not Weston Davis.
Well, Weston Davis is back, and I was told over the weekend as well that they are very close to a deal. They're just finalizing the terms with Braylon Moore to return. But they've lost 6 scholarship linemen from that room, so they got to start rebuilding. So what are you hearing there?
I think, look, we've debated before, which guys from the team could start. Now all of them are gone, right? Yeah. So you try to keep Braylon Moore, and then look, the storyline of Weston Davis. You and I talked about this whole segment. Was, look, he doesn't look great. He's getting beat nonstop, but he was a 5-star for a reason. And I've talked to a lot of people behind the scenes, I'm sure you have, that said, look, Weston Davis is a really good player, and he got thrown out there too early. But guess what? Go look up LSU snap counts on the year, and the only player who played more snaps on offense was your starting guard, Josh Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Your transfer from Northwestern, who was a veteran and just never got injured. So I was told there was a reason Weston stayed on the field until ultimately Frank shakes up, but this new staff is high on Weston Davis and think that with the experience he has, he can be something. So let's just play that game where maybe you have 2 pieces in place in him and Braylon Moore. I don't have an answer for you. I know they're visiting. Yeah. They've had guys visit over the weekend. They're having guys visit even today. You reported about the Minnesota O-lineman. They've got more coming this week. But it's a unique thing because Eric Walford, the O-line coach, is the only one that's not part of this Ole Miss contingent on offense. So you don't have these direct ties. I won't be shocked if Ole Miss's season ends and a guy or two hits the portal that they had liked there, and that they ultimately can get down here. That's just a guess, but
sure.
That's the biggest question mark outside of quarterback was O-line. And, look, we're 4 days in, so I'm not shocked we don't have answers, but I just don't know which direction they're going to go. And we've seen it before, too. You can grab an FIU kid named Miles Frazier, and you're like, I don't know if he's going to be any good or not. And then he's a multi-year starter.
Right.
So I think that's going to be kind of the interesting thing to pay attention to is that Ferris State to Georgia, they're going to kind of recruit everybody.
Yeah. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, we appreciate it. Busy time. We'll check in again next week. Thanks, man.
Sounds good, Matt.
All right, buddy. Be well. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. New year, time for a new vehicle. The 26s are in and on the lot at southpointvw.com. How about $279 a month for 36 months for 2026 Taos? You can check that out right now, the compact SUV over at South Point Volkswagen. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, airline just north of Highland. You want to check out their special offers, you could do it. You want to work out your financing and get pre-approved, you can do it right there on the website. It's interesting, the average car buyer visits 1.2 dealerships before making a purchase. Like when I bought my first car, it was like you go on a Saturday and visit 5 dealerships and haggle. That just doesn't happen anymore. So you do the entire thing online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Shea did allude to it there, as I mentioned. And by the way, I'll mention this again. If you haven't done it yet, go bookmark our tracker at louisianasports.net. If you go to the website, louisianasports.net, on the top stories, you'll see right there, it's the 2026 roster tracker. And we have the list of players from LSU that announced they're staying, the portal entrants, the portal additions, and then we have a list of reported visits. So it's all there for you if you want to check it out. And I did earlier today share that a couple of new visits from LSU. One is, as I mentioned, it's a Minnesota offensive lineman. Hang on, there's a lot of them, y'all. It's Kali Tafai. It's Khleetafai. Kali Tafai. He's visiting today along with Florida wide receiver Trey Wilson. And then there's a JUCO offensive lineman from Copiah Lincoln who's on campus today as well. I have not yet gotten that player's name, so forgive me, but I do know there are 2 offensive linemen on campus today. Again, there's Kali Tafai and then the Copiah Lincoln offensive lineman as well. I'll get you a name. When I have a name, I'll pass it along to you. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break, come back, go around the SEC. There is an update on the Ole Miss tampering allegation thing I'll get to in about 15 minutes. Racine Guillory, LSU running back signee. He'll be with us in a little more than half an hour from right now, so don't you move. It's AFR.
After further review.
New year? How about a new pool? It is time, y'all. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Go to the website. This is such an easy process. And if you're thinking to yourself, man, I would love a pool. I just don't think I can afford it. You got to go to DuplessisBuilders.net because you're going to find out just how incredibly affordable this entire process can be. At DuplessisBuilders.net, they've got a tab where it says pick your pool. You click that tab on the home page, and they show you 11 different pool designs. I would encourage, go do this right now, even if you're not interested in buying a pool right now. Just go look because this is a really cool feature. Just pick one. Starting at just under $50,000, by the way, and financing is available, like less than a vehicle in many instances. Pick the pool, and then you just choose your features on the tab on the side, color, finishes, all that sort of stuff, and boom, you can even put a deposit right there on the website today. It's DuplessisBuilders.net. It's turnkey. DuplessisBuilders.net. DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Open up a throttle and stir a little dust. Just look at her face. She ain't a fooling me.
Happy New Year from our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Back for another year. You want a Deere, Bunkie, and below, you know where you're going to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. SunEquip.com, SunEquip.com, SunEquip.com. Sugarcane season, it's wrapping up, y'all. Time to clean up all that hard work and equipment that got you through it. They're fully stocked with power washers to help knock off that mud, residue, and buildup so your equipment is ready for the next job. Get by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll get to around the SEC here in just a quick second, and as you'll probably notice a theme, the around the SEC will be a little bit of a portal roundup on that given day, barring something unforeseen. I do, before this hour is over, want to talk about the Ole Miss tampering allegations and the latest there. But there, a Pro Football Focus did put out its all-rookie team for the NFL. Couple of New Orleans Saints on the all-rookie team. It's the ones you'd expect. Tyler Shuck is the all-rookie quarterback. No surprise there. Had a grade of 75.0 here in his rookie season from Pro Football Focus. Interesting, they note about how Shedeur Sanders was on the board when the Saints picked Tyler Shuck 40th. We know Shedeur Sanders took the tumble that he did after. But the Saints are 5-4 in the 9 games with Tyler Shuck at the helm. It's hard not to imagine what could have happened, right? What could have happened had Shuck been playing the entire season. That's not a I don't think it's a completely fail-proof argument. Maybe Shuck wasn't ready early in the season to play, and maybe he was better late because he had the opportunity to sit and watch early. But either way, it's exciting to see what's going to happen moving forward. And how about this? The other New Orleans Saint is right there bookended by former LSU Tiger Will Campbell, but not surprising, it's Kelvin Banks Jr., who was quietly the top rookie tackle in this year's draft class, despite being the 3rd offensive tackle taken. So with a 77.7 overall grade, he just edged out Will Campbell at a 76.9. So very interesting that a couple of New Orleans Saints cornerstone pieces, your first and second round picks, were your 2 Pro Football Focus all-rookie team members. Seems like you hit on both of those. Hopefully they become cornerstone building block pieces for a franchise that returns to relevance into the playoffs starting in 2026. All right, it's after further review. We are brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. I'm excited, man. We had our parish marketing meeting today, and it's interesting. I'm surrounded by green because today we're powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Parish Construction and Roofing, our colors are green. And today we finalized our plans to be and roll in the Wearing of the Green Parade on St. Patrick's Day in Baton Rouge. So there will be a Parish Construction and Roofing float in the Wear Under the Green Parade, so be sure you're looking out for us that weekend, St. Patty's Day weekend at the Wear Under the Green Parade. But most importantly, if you need a roof, we can help you out. Commercial, residential, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Repairs, replacements, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. And, of course, we do gutters, soft wash. We do it all at parishbuilt.com. And very pleased that we've been nominated in the Best of 225. Actually, while we were away, Parish Construction Roofing was named the Best of Ascension. Well, we have now also been nominated in the Advocate for the Best of Baton Rouge Awards as the best roofing company. So if you wouldn't mind going vote, we got the links on all of our social media. We'd appreciate the support. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction Roofing. Visit parishbuilt.com. All right, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Auburn Tigers.
Totally expected, but still significant news. Auburn has landed the transfer commitment from South Florida quarterback Byron Brown, meaning he follows Alex Golish from Tampa to the Plains. The number 17 player, the number 7 quarterback in the cycle, Byron Brown, headed to Auburn.
The Missouri Tigers.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons is now Missouri quarterback Austin Simmons. He was a 3-star in the 2023 recruiting class, played in 17 games the last 2 years for the Rebels, but he is headed to Minnesota. Missouri also saw Damon Wilson enter the portal. Defensive end, former 5-star who started his career at Georgia, then went to Mizzou, now back in the portal.
The Florida Gators.
Running back Jaden Baugh will remain with Florida for the 2026 season. There had been some scuttle about Baugh entering the portal, and now LSU might have been in the mix there, but ran for nearly 1,200 yards this past season for the Gators and will be back.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Notre Dame quarterback Kenny Minchey has signed with Kentucky. That, of course, is notable. Minchey had been committed to Nebraska, but Kentucky was Sam Leavitt's other quarterback visit. So Minchey, the number 12 quarterback in the portal, he's headed to Lexington. Also, Oklahoma running back Javante Barnes has committed to Kentucky as well.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Former NC State running back Hollywood Smothers is headed to Alabama, 5'11", 195. Led the ACC at 85. Man, that one just got away from me. 85 rush yards per game. That was like an awful first pitch where you bounce it. It's like the 47-foot first pitch is how that one was. I mean, just whacked Paulie's monitor right in the back of the monitor. Anyway, Hollywood Smothers going to Alabama, and starting defensive lineman James Smith has entered the portal. One more note, just since we've been on air. Their big the big left tackle who catches the pass. What am I blanking?
Caden Proctor.
Caden Proctor. Yeah, Caden Proctor is declared for the draft.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma has landed Texas wide receiver Parker Livingstone, the number 61 overall prospect, going to the other side of the Red River rivalry.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Probably saw this. Carius Kern has signed with Ole Miss, something we talked about last night. 6'5", 321 year at LSU. You know the story. Kern's headed to Oxford.
Texas A&M.
A&M has landed South Carolina offensive line transfer Trevon Baugh. 3 seasons with the Gamecocks. He was a multi-year starter. 19 starts, played in 35 games for the Gamecocks, now headed to the Aggies.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And how about this name? A.J. Swan is headed back into the SEC. The former Vanderbilt, LSU, and Appalachian State quarterback has signed with Mississippi State. So Swan threw for 1,500 yards this year at App State, is back in the conference with the Bulldogs. There you have it. That is Around the SEC. Every single Tuesday, we're powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. SunEquip.com. SunEquip.com. All right, quick break. We'll come back. The latest on the Ole Miss tampering allegations, and surprise, surprise, nothing's going to come of it yet. I'll explain what I mean next at AFR.
After further review.
If you are thinking of selling your home, new year, new home, you need Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com. You know, Darren has a policy, part of his listing agreement with every client. It's the communication guarantee. The biggest complaint that people have, according to the National Association of Realtors, hired the realtor, listed my home, never heard from him again. Well, Darren has a communication guarantee whereby if you're not thrilled with the level of communication, the level of service Darren and his team provide, You can fire him, no questions asked, let you out of the contract free and clear. But you know what's interesting? In the decades that Darren James has been a realtor, and on the Wall Street Journal's list, the top 1% of realtors in America, that has never happened. Not once ever. Not once ever has a client fired Darren because of his inability to communicate with him. You want the best experience? You want results? You want Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She's always staring at me.
As the coaching back and forth has happened with LSU and Ole Miss and the assistants, it appears that we finally have some finality as things have sort of reached a head here. We do know that Charlie Weiss Jr. was going to continue going back and forth, something I know that we reported over at LouisianaSports.net over the weekend. And it had been determined over the weekend that barring something unforeseen, that Weiss was going to be the only coach going back and forth. And then that changed. And I told you yesterday the thing that changed was Kewan Lacey. As over the weekend, a lot of the momentum started to shift from Lacey ending up in Baton Rouge to staying at Ole Miss, which ultimately they did announce that he's re-signed to stay at Ole Miss. They announced that on Monday night. And so Kevin Smith had gone back as well, and I told you yesterday that it had less to do with coaching the CFP and more to do with Lacey. What's interesting is, this has all been wrapped in this conversation about these tampering allegations that Ross Dellinger wrote about at Yahoo last week. And today, Heather Dinich at ESPN has a piece up, Heather Dinich and Mark Schleybaugh, and they allude to the tampering allegations made by Walker Jones, the Ole Miss NIL collective director. And but they're now saying that Ole Miss is not expected to file these tampering allegations formally. Imagine that. It's the thing that we've been saying. Like, how can you? And my understanding is Ole Miss has been collecting and stockpiling information and evidence, a case to allege tampering by the now LSU coaches, Lane Kiffin and members of his staff, when they were still at Ole Miss with the Ole Miss players, try to get them to follow to LSU. How in the world, my contention, can you allege tampering if you're inviting these coaches back into your building? You can't. It's stupid. But I've also told you that Ole Miss, and a lot of their direction and discretion here, is to embarrass Lane Kiffin publicly. That is very intentional with what they're doing, with roster retention, even overpaying for players, with bringing former LSU staff members to Oxford, recruiting LSU players out of the portal, something I told you was going to happen. Carius Kern signed today. Recruiting Louisiana high school kids, that's going to happen. It's all about a narrative that they're trying to build. And it's silly and small-minded and petty and stupid, and that's why Ole Miss has been a runt most of their life, and will go back to being that eventually, but they're having an incredible year right now, and good on them. But it's also interesting that in this piece by Schleybaugh and Dinich, they mentioned that LSU had been targeting, or there was speculation they've been targeting Chambliss and Lacey. They also mentioned place kicker Lucas Carniero. These are all players that, I told you, there were certainly those players that LSU was targeting. There were two defensive linemen. Bryson Sanders, the center, was another one. This is how the business of sports and college football is done now. You have these conversations with player representatives. It's unfortunate for Ole Miss that it's happening while they're still playing, but that's the same for the other three teams still playing now as well. Because the calendar is stupid, and they need to fix it, and hopefully they do. But if you're interested in pursuing players on a team that's still playing, then you have to talk to the representatives while the season's still going on. It doesn't mean it's tampering. It means that's how this is happening. Well, Ole Miss didn't want to lose players to Lane Kiffin, so they ponied up and overspent to keep their whole roster. Okay, good. That's fine. And good on them. They kept some good players. But the interesting part of it is, from the tampering perspective, I'm going to make this prediction. While they may not formally file tampering charges through the NCAA or a complaint, they are going to leak that evidence. They're going to leak that information. Just prepare for that, because it has become so clear and made very obvious to me that this is Ole Miss's path, is They do not like the manner in which Lane Kiffin left, and they are out to embarrass him publicly in every way they can. And releasing this information is going to be a part of that. At some point, it will leak. I am, as sure as I'm going to wake up bald tomorrow, that's going to leak at some point. When? I don't know. But if you think that information is never going to see the light of day, shoot. Got some oceanfront property in Bunkie I'd like to sell you. And while you're there, make sure you go to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Bunkie and below, you want a Deere, you go to Sunshine. Sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. All right, y'all, it is after further review. Put a button here on hour number one. When we come back, a little hoot at the Saints have some pretty high-profile free agents that have decisions to make about their futures. We'll check the box on those, and then in about 20 minutes from right now, Racine Guillory, LSU running back signee from Utah, will be here. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling since 1968. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. You know where to go. Go to Shaw Bills. No matter where you are around South Louisiana, there is a Shaw Bills location near you, and you're always going to get the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible and exceptional customer service. This 5-star Google review from a customer in Prairieville said, wow, another excellent experience with this wonderful company. Staff is awesome, always greet you with a smile, and try to service your car ASAP. Thank you, Shaw Bills, Prairieville. 5-star review for Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. With locations all over South Louisiana, you can find the location nearest you at the website. Just go to ShawBillsTire.com. That's ShawBillsTire.com. Name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they'll keep you coming back because they treat you like family. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling.